Luffy's character is ultimately one of the biggest factors that drew me in. He has some of that standard shonen air where he's lovable, he's naive, he's really jovial, and he's strong, and like he cares about his friends
He's
deeply
all
as if
about
they were
his friends.
family.
That is a huge part of his personality.
For some characters, it starts to get annoying. It's like, okay, yeah, you have the power of friendship. Luffy doesn't feel like he has the power of friendship. He feels like he has just a very strong ambition and a love for his friends as family.
That's
and
probably the key word,
he'll
ambition.
do anything for them. It doesn't feel like the power of friendship like it does in a lot of other shonen. For Luffy, it's written in a more mature way and just feels different. Is the only way I can describe it. And also, take just any other shonen. If there's a backstory that happens and if a character has a really sad moment and they might talk about it with the main character, and the main character will feel bad for them and have like a big power friendship moment, and then you'll do something. Something I love about Luffy is that he doesn't sweat the details. There's a moment pretty early on where it's a thing with Nami. Nami leaves the crew. This is really
This is the Arlong arc you're talking about?
Yeah, the Arlong arc. So right before the Arlong arc, Nami leaves the crew, and some people are saying like, oh man, like fuck Nami, blah blah blah. Right, and then he goes there, and Luffy has like a really high emotional awareness, and he already has a good read on people, and he already decided Nami's part of my crew. So he goes there, he wants to get her back. Stuff happens, she says she's not part of the crew anymore, blah blah blah. And then an opportunity shows up where they meet Nami's sister. And Nami's sister starts to kind of go and explain their childhood and what made Nami the way she is now and kind of the hardship she's going through.
Now, let me interject real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
One Piece is a lot darker than you guys would think.
Yes.
I mean, early. Like, it's early, very, very dark. Darker than some of the shonens that you probably read because they're dark and you like them because they're dark. One Piece has some very dark undertones to it. Even some blatant things that are like, holy shit, what kind of thing am I reading right now? It can get that deep. And I love that about it, is that I wasn't expecting it. I thought it was going to be a silly adventure type of thing where it was all jokes and bubblegum. It tricks
you into kind of thinking that for a little bit.
It does.
Like early on, but then it doesn't take long for it to kind of transition to, even in the moments where it's silly, you see like, oh wow, there's a bit of competent writing here. Like there's something happening.
But yeah, back to what you were saying about Nami and Luffy.
Well, so basically Nojiko, which is the name of Nami's sister, she starts to explain their history and everything. And Sanji and Usopp, they go and they're listening, and Luffy is completely disinterested. He's like, oh, whatever, I'm going for a walk. He completely leaves. He never learns her history, her backstory, and they never beat it over your head. They don't have to sit down and explain to you, like, Luffy doesn't care about it because of this. They show it with kind of their actions, and with Luffy acting this way throughout the series. He doesn't need to know all the hardships you went through and why you did this and that. He already got to read and already decided for himself that this person is worth it to him. Right. And he doesn't need all those details. But he still isn't going to just go and save you now. And this is something else I think is really cool. Even though he's decided you're worth saving, he doesn't save you yet. He waits until you want to be saved, or like you admit it.
No, you're right. Because this happens again with Nico Robin.
It does. There's a part where like he still isn't going to just save Nami. There's a part where Nami's sitting there. She's completely broken down and she's on the floor just crying. And she has a tattoo on her arm, and it's Arlong's tattoo.
Stabbing herself.
Yes. She has Arlong's tattoo. So basically, I won't go into the full backstory, but Arlong ruins her entire life from the time she's a child, and he basically enslaves her, and she's forced to work under him for all of these years. And so she's forced to have a brand on her arm, and all of these things happen. And so there's a part where she's completely broken down. She's sitting on the floor, and she has a knife, and she's stabbing herself in the arm where the tattoo is, and she's just crying. And Luffy's just sitting there watching her, and he's not doing anything to help her, nothing. And then eventually she turns to him crying, and she says, "Luffy, help me."
Yep.
And then after he does that, he takes his hat off his head, and he puts his hat. And by the way, his hat is absurd significance to him. He doesn't let anybody touch his hat.
Yeah, don't fuck with his hat.
No one touches Luffy's hat.
Because Shanks gave him that hat in the beginning of the
Yes, the show. That hat has an absurd significance to Luffy. He puts the hat on Nami's head, and he just like he just goes like, damn right, or something like that. But before, he's sitting there calm and he's not doing anything. But as soon as she asks to help him, he puts the hat on his head.
Yep, and that was a done deal from there.
And then the camera zooms out, and you see the rest of the homies waiting. It's like Sanji, Zoro, and Usopp are sitting there. They were just waiting because they weren't taking a move until their captain took a move.
Yep, I love that about them too. You want to talk about falling in line?
Once their captain took the move,
yeah,
that's when the Straw Hat fucking strut starts and they start moving. And then they go to Arlong Park, and that's when shit goes down.
Yeah, Luffy's about that.
Yes. So there's just a lot of nuance in Luffy's characters. He's really jovial. He's really loving and fun to watch, but he's also very mature in a way that's not explicitly beaten over your head.
Yeah.
And he has an ambition, and he goes about things in a way that I feel like isn't typical for his character archetype. And that's something his that character I really archetype
definitely does come off. Him. It definitely does come off a little, like I said, jovial, Jolly Roger style, no pun intended there, but like you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And we could talk about his ambition a little bit. So, all of the shonens, they typically have I want to be the Wizard King. I want to be the Hokage. I want to be this or whatever. Luffy wants to be the Pirate King.
One of the few that doesn't do that, and I think it has a good and bad because of his Bleach. Ichigo doesn't have a grand goal. And that in some ways is cool for the manga, but in some ways it shows some lack of ambition on Ichigo's part because Ichigo's always reactive. There's no goal he's going for.
He doesn't actually initiate. He doesn't want to be, let's say, a captain. He doesn't aspire to be really anything.
All he doesn't really have any inspiration.
Is protect his friends. Whereas Luffy has a very clear and concise goal from the very start, which is I want to be the Pirate King. Naruto wants to be the Hokage. All of these other characters, they want to be something. Even in Demon Slayer, Tanjiro wants to save his sister ultimately. That is his ultimate goal. It's not necessarily that he wants to be a Hashira.
But he has a grand goal in mind. He wants to do something that people think is impossible.
Exactly. He still wants to do the impossible. And even though he doesn't necessarily say, I want to be a Hashira, he does acknowledge I need to be strong in order to accomplish my goal. And being a Hashira may be part of that in the long run, like overarching story. But his goal is really, I want to save my sister. And that gives you something to hold on to when you're thinking about the character. And that Luffy wanting to be the Pirate King, he reminds you throughout the whole series, just as every other shonen character would, like this, at the end of the day, I'm going to be the Pirate King. And every time someone asks him, who are you? He announces like, I'm Luffy, Straw Hat Pirates.
I am Luffy.
And I'm going to be the Pirate King.
He's the man who will just like the Pirate King?
Yeah, every time. And people usually, laugh and stuff, but then.
And his homies get mad at him sometimes because there's like and they use it as a gag, but it's enjoyable. There's a part where they I think raided a Marine ship and the Marine phone starts ringing. The phone's ringing and everybody looks at it and they're like, oh shit, don't answer it. And then as they're kind of they get distracted, Luffy picks up the phone and they just hear Luffy and they're like, what the fuck? He goes, boy, mushy mush Luffy. And then he goes and then he says I'm gonna be the Pirate King. Yep. And they're like, Nami's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I love it. I actually laughed reading it, and I'm laughing that you're bringing these memories back up because it's really
there's a lot of funny moments, but
so good.
Also on Luffy's ambition and him wanting to be the Pirate King, here's the other thing. For Luffy, there's no shortcuts. To Luffy, there's a point where he makes it clear that to him, the Pirate King is the man with the most freedom on the sea. Right. He just wants to live his life unshackled, unbound, and have freedom and have fun and go on adventures with his friends, right? That's ultimately what he wants to do. He ends up doing all this other crazy shit on the road, the Pirate King, and he has fun doing it. But there's two instances off the top of my head that I can think of, although now I'm drawing a blank on the one. I'll go to the one that is one of the biggest sort of ambition Pirate King moments for me. This is jumping way ahead, but they end up meeting. So if you don't know, and spoilers, real quick, we're going to be talking about spoilers throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, it's impossible to talk about one.
We're going to talk about a bunch of spoilers. Things. Yeah. Well, the only thing we won't spoil is the most current arc.
Yes.
Most current arc, we will not talk about. It's called the Wano arc. Won't be spoiled. Everything before that is fair game.
Cake Island, all that. Yep.
If you decide to keep watching this because maybe we'll interest you in watching it and you don't care, you'll just get spoiled anyway. First of all, thanks for watching, even though you haven't seen
One Piece we appreciate you.
But second of all, if this sounds interesting to you, go and read One Piece or watch it. Because even the things we spoil are still going to be fucking amazing when you read it. And there's going to be things we don't even cover that's going to be amazing as well. We can't cover everything. That said, that out of the way. Gold Roger was the Pirate King 20 years ago. He's dead. He has a treasure called the One Piece, and it's on this final island called Raftel. Nobody has ever been to Raftel except Gold Roger, and it's nobody really even knows how to get there.
His crew was with him though, right?
Yeah, his crew went. Yeah, Gold Roger and his crew.
Gotcha.
So people,
because there's still members alive from his crew that still exist today.
Exactly.
But go ahead.
And so the point that I'm getting to is way later in the series, like, I don't know, chapter 500 or 400.
Jeez.
Luffy ends up meeting a member of Gold Roger's crew.
Yes.
Not just a member, he ends up meeting the first mate, Roger's right-hand man.
Yep. Silver's Rayleigh.
This is a man who has been to the end of the Grand Line. This is a man that's been to Raftel. This man knows what the One Piece is. He knows the secrets of the world. That's another thing. One Piece has a ton of mystery in it, baked into the world building. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we still don't know what One Piece actually is, which is so great.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that shit is 20 years plus old, but yeah, go on.
So there's a point where the Straw Hats are talking to Silver's Rayleigh, and they're having a conversation. And so they find out, yes, he has been to the sort of the end of the world, so to speak. And then Usopp jumps up in excitement, and he's like, do you know what the One Piece? He starts to say, like, can you tell us what the One Piece is, or do you know what the One Piece is? And kind of before Usopp can even finish that, Luffy jumps on the table and yells at him, and he tells Usopp to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he's having none of that.
He makes it very clear that Luffy says straight up, if somebody tells me what the One Piece is or tells me how to get there, I will quit my adventure right here. I will not become the Pirate King. He makes it clear, like, if somebody gives me a shortcut, tells me the answer, he's like, I will quit. This is, do not fucking ask him for any advice.
No spoilers, basically.
No spoilers. Luffy's like, no fucking
spoilers.
Luffy makes it like this is his ambition, and he doesn't want, cool, you've been to the end of the world. Don't tell me what happens. Like, I will get there. I want
to experience it for myself.
If I can't get there through my struggles, my ambition, and like my
sheer
friends,
force of will,
then I don't fucking want it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually really cool about him, is that his ambition is so strong that he could have the answer if Silver's Rayleigh would tell him, and someone blatantly asked in front of him, but he's like, absolutely fucking not. Do not tell me what it is.
Absolutely not. So
yeah, I love that.
That was just, all of that is kind of just what really sucked me into One Piece. Even though, something happened in chapter 500, obviously I was sucked in by then, but you see the seeds of that character really early on, and Luffy is just sort of this beautiful character that really is what sucked me in.
I don't think we have to go into favorite characters, because it seems clear to me that both of our favorite characters, Luffy.
Yes.
Like my favorite character when I think about One Piece,
Luffy.
It's Luffy, and it's not even close. And it's always been Luffy too. Like there was never a character of all his crewmates and everything. I love them, but there is no one in the show that I love more than Luffy. And that's not typical for me. Usually I don't.
Yeah, you're not usually the main character guy.
I don't like Asta and Black Clover. I really don't.
You don't like Naruto?
I really do not like Naruto. I was trying to walk my way around it, but I don't like Naruto.
You love Sasuke, but he says he doesn't like Naruto.
I love Killua
character.
I'm not a Gon fan. Like I'm not big on Gon. Like I kind of like Gon, but I'm not big on Gon. I'd rather be in the assassin family.
You're more Killua.
Yeah, I'm more the quiet brooding type, as I always say. More of the Sephiroth and less of the the jovial, happy-go-lucky Titus type. Like I would never be Titus. I would be Sephiroth. So I usually do not like the main character. I didn't even like Goku as a kid. Like I really didn't like him. I thought Super Saiyan was cool, but as far as him as a character, I really more so I liked Piccolo, and part of that is he's just more dark of a character, more serious all the time, and Goku was always happy-go-lucky. Luffy, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I didn't get into it until my 20s, but something about Luffy, even though he is this jovial character a lot of the times, it's just something about when he's down to business, he means business. And I love that. Like I fucking love it. I just relate to it a bit more.
He's just written more mature, I think. As funny and silly and joking as it is.
Yeah.
Because One Piece, that's another thing. It's absurdly comical. Like I remember you saying multiple times.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the IMNerd Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.